Hello everyone, it's nice to have you join us today. I remain your host, Danny Michael, and in today's episode, we'll be talking about the anchor attributes. We're talking about anchor and hyperlinks. So before we proceed, I will tell you about attributes. Like I told you in the last episode, I will explain what attributes are in details. So attributes give information about, they give detailed information about every element or tag on a HTML web page. These attributes come in name and value pair, and they are always written within the opening elements or opening tags. They cannot be written within the closing tags for those elements that are not void, that have closing tags. So they cannot be written there. They can only be written within the opening elements. So examples of attributes. Currently, with the elements we have on our page or tags we have on our page, they all have attributes. Almost all have attributes. The meta element you see here has an attribute of character set with an encoding of UTF-8, which is an encoding standard for web browsers, because that's what they could understand. Although we have other encoding for other stuff, but for web browsers, we have UTF-8. UTF-8 is the standard for web browsers. Now the next element we have here, or tag, has two attributes, the name attribute and the content attribute. The content is the name of this attribute. Also, the name you see here is the name of this attribute. So we can specify name of an attribute. Of an element or tag. Yes, we can specify name. The input element is a void element. It also has the name attribute. When we're talking about forms, then you understand it also has a name attribute. So whatever you see in between the quotation mark, whatever you see in between these quotation marks, which could either be a single quote or a double quote, but for standard HTML document, every attribute must or should be in double quotes. So whatever you see in between the quotation marks is the value of that attribute. And the attribute is being separated from its, the name of the attribute is being separated from its value in quotes by specifying the equal to. So the equal to references the name of the attribute to its value. Moving on to today's topic, we want to talk about the anchors and hyperlinks. So what's an anchor? An anchor is just an HTML tag that helps you link to different resources, either external or internal. You can also use it to download documents within your site and also reference a particular section within your site. The anchor tag is just an A tag with an opening and a closing. It has a lot of attributes, which I will be discussing. They include 1, the href. The href specifies the destination address. It can be an absolute URL or a relative URL, or the name of an anchor tag, that is the name of another anchor tag within your document. An absolute URL is a complete URL of any website, while a relative URL points to another directory or document in the same website. Examples of absolute URL include https://example.com or www.google.com. Those are absolute URL. For relative URL, references a particular document or file. The file could either be our About Us page, Contact Us page, Services page, or About Us directory. or a directory to download a particular file. Yes. To specify an absolute URL, we go in between the quotation marks of this href attribute and then specify our absolute URL. We can either specify our absolute URL this way, or we specify the relative URL like this. So these two anchor tags performs different actions. It performs different actions, one of which opens the Google page as an absolute URL, and the other references a particular document, that's our About Us page within our site. Now, this element you are seeing, or tag you are seeing, still remains an anchor tag. The moment I pass in a name here, Google, or link to Google, it becomes a hyperlink. So I will be creating this file or changing it to a file I created recently as blog.html. Yes, I created a file blog.html for a particular reason, which will be seen soon. So I'll specify it here, blog. We'll be using that later. The next attribute for every anchor tag is the hreflang. The hreflang specifies the language of the resource linked by the href attribute, which must be present with the hreflang must be present. It must be present with this one, that is the href. It uses a description. Okay, it allowed values allowed values are determined by BCP47. Pardon me for that breaking transmission. Or for HTML5, they use the ROFC1766 to determine its value. So its value can actually be English or any other language that you are writing your document in. But the general language is also being specified. The general language for your entire page is also being specified by the HTML attributes. We have the lang attributes, the HTML elements, sorry. We have the lang attribute, that's the language attributes, that takes a value of either EN, FRO, and so on for different languages. FRO is actually for French, and EN for English. Somebody in Nigeria might be asking, we don't have for Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. Yes, we don't. I don't think we have that for now. So, moving on with the next attribute that goes in between the opening elements of the anchor tag is the relationship attribute. It specifies the relationship between the document, that's the file or current document that is being linked by the href. So the relationship attribute specifies the relationship between your current document and this particular value we have in our href. Now, in this case, the value of the relationship attribute can either be external or relative. It can either be external or relative. So when we say external, That simply means whatever is in between, whatever value we have for the href is an external document, an external resource. But when we say internal or relative, we have it simply means whatever value within the href attribute belongs to us, belongs to our document. So the other attribute I'll be telling you about, external. The other attribute I'll be telling you about is the target attribute. It is used to specify where to open a link. The target attribute is used to specify where to open a particular link. For instance, we now have this google.com here, this absolute URL. We can either choose to open this URL on a particular page, that is a new tab, or on the same tab where the user is actually viewing your site. You can as well choose to open the document on a new window. To do that, we then specify the value of the target attributes, which could be either blank to open in a new tab, parent to open in a new window, self to open on the same page as your website. Top, I don't know what that top is for currently. Maybe you can go and make your research on that. But the first three values, the blank, parent, and self. The blank is to open on a new tab, the parent to open on a new window, and the self to open on the same page. It is actually not necessary to specify self there, because even without the target attribute and you click on a resource that references that without the target attribute, once you click on the hyperlink, it automatically opens it in the current page without the self or target attribute. But when the target attribute is being inserted into the anchor tag with the blank value or parent, it does it the same a different action. The next element, the next attribute I'll be talking about is the title attribute. Yes, the title attribute, you heard that correctly. Remember the abbreviation element or tag we talked about in episode 2 or episode 1, I can't really remember. We also specified the title attribute, which was used to write the full meaning of HTML. Because that was an abbreviation, the element or tag is an abbreviation tag, it has to go with a title attribute to specify the full meaning of whatever has been abbreviated within its opening and closing tags. Within its opening and closing tags. So the title attributes here also do the same function. For instance, we are now having google.com here. I can say Google. Just write Google there. You might be wondering what's the difference between this title element or tag we have here and this title. Like I said, this title here specifies the title of the entire document. Why this title here as an attribute sends an information about this particular hyperlink, telling you its name. For instance, Google. The next element, the next attribute I'll be talking about is the download attribute. The download attribute. It is used to specify the target. It is used to specify that the target will be downloaded when the user clicks on the hyperlink. That is, whenever it is being provided here, whenever the download attribute is being imputed here in the opening elements of the anchor tag, it is used to specify that the target, that is whatever is in between this value, if you actually imputed a value here, whatever is in between this value will be downloaded once the user clicks on the link, the hyperlink. But if no value is being provided, it automatically downloads the current page. We'll see that in action soon. So I'll be running this file, this document, using the live server. Running the document using the live server. And as you can see, we then have two links. Link to Google and the blog. So I'll be putting a break tag in between them so as to separate them for visibility or clarity. Let's specify a break. Sorry. BR. Remember I told you can specify a closing tag because they are void elements. They don't have closing elements. So I just created a space between, I just broke the line between the two of them. So on our link to Google, like I told you, we can specify where we want to open this page. I'll first remove the target attributes so as to explain so you understand properly. Once I click on this link right now, Google will be opened on this same tab. Hence, we are out of our site. Our site cannot be reached except we go back. So this is the Google page. We then open via our site by linking an absolute URL from our site to Google. Now going back to our site, and then I'm going to specify the attributes target so as to show you what it does. Now I specify the value of blank. Once I go to our site and then click on the link to Google, it automatically opens this link on a new tab. And another thing I want to explain to you is the title attributes. If you could see clearly on my screen, you see the Google keyword, the Google tooltip appearing there once I hover over the link or the anchor tag, the hyperlink. Once I hover over it, the title value is being displayed on the tooltip, telling you what this link does. Let's say we can write open to Google there, but currently I just have Google there. So once I click on it right now, it opens it on a new tab. As you can see, Google has been opened on a new tab, and I can still go back to my site. So the reason for this target attributes on the anchor tag is for flexibility. Now, you have a post here, or let me say you have a post. You have a post here. You posted something on your site, for instance. Let me use this as an example. This is the blog file we have on our site, and this is for demonstration purpose, not an actual site, just for demonstration purpose. It's actually a live site, but it's a new site, but this is for demonstration purpose. On this site now we have a post, and if you check very well, if I should scroll down to, let's say, here now, okay, no, this is the file we still have on our same site. Let's look for something that is different. Let me see. Okay, everything here on this page is within. They are all relative. So you will see what I'm trying to explain. For instance, we are having this Google link as we do here on this site. Now, the user is reading this post and then he saw something that references to maybe Chicago University. Now, you don't want the user to automatically leave your site. You want them to come back because you referenced something here that says go to Google, and the user clicks on it. It automatically opens it on either this tab if the target attribute is specified in your HTML tag. I say your HTML tag, your anchor tag. If your target attribute is being specified on the anchor tag. But if it is not being specified, the Google page will be opened on same page. Hence, the user has automatically left your site. But because you want to bring the user back to your site, you can then use the target attribute to open that page on a new tab, or to open that resource on a new tab, just as we just did. The next thing I will be telling you right now is how to open the link to a file or a document in your site. So this blog is a file I created. I created a new page having tons of codes in it. Do not bother about everything you see here currently, because you'll be creating it as time goes on. But this is for the demonstration purpose. It's this blog you see here. That's the source code for this blog you see here. Everything you see there has its contribution to this web page. So now from our main web page, which is the index.html, I can equally link to this blog. For instance, I close the blog page. Now you see blog. Once I click on it, I'm now referencing to the blog page in our site, which is the relative URL to the blog page. As you can see, I'm now here on the blog page. If you check our domain or our URL, we are still having the 127.0.0.1:5500/blog.html. Remember, we are using live server, which automatically generated this URL using my local system IP address. So if you have the same, you will see, if you have the extension installed in VS Code, you will also see this. So I have referenced to the blog. I have referenced the blog in our HTML page by specifying a relative URL, which is a path to the name, a path to the blog file. Now, this blog file, because it's a relative URL, it can be in different paths within our website. It can be in another directory. For instance, we create a folder here called blog. Create a folder here called blog, and then we move this file blog into the folder called blog. Now we go back to our site. We go back to our site, and then you see cannot get blog.html because we've moved its location. If you go back here and refresh and then click on the blog again, you still get the same message, cannot get blog. That is because we didn't specify the relative path to the blog. Now let me show you how to do that. Actually, it is called file system. It's a different topic entirely, although I'm just going to brief you here what it is. So the blog folder we created, we moved the blog.html into the blog folder. So in order for us to be able to get this file, what we have to do now is specify the blog folder first and add a / before locating the blog.html. So you have to provide a relative path to the blog.html. When we'll be talking about file system, then we'll be handling videos, images, and some other files. Then you will understand properly what file system is within a particular site. So we are currently having our blog.html inside a blog folder. So therefore, we have to specify a relative link to that blog.html. Now, if we go back to our site and we go back to the index page and refresh, once we click on the blog, you can see that we now have our page back. So moving on, the next thing I will be showing you is how to link to another anchor element within our web page. Now that's the reason why I created this blog.html, so as to show you or demonstrate how to link to another anchor tag within a particular document. So in order for us to do that, if we should go to our home page, if you should go to the blog site, if you go to the blog site, now you see these links here, everything written on top here. I want to change this 2023 election. I want to change the 2023 election to take us down to a certain page, a certain section of our web page. For instance, this text right here. Now we came to this site initially, and then we saw 2023 elections. What is 2023 elections? That should be a question that runs through your mind. So you clicked on it. You notice that you are here. You are here at the top of this, at the top of the page. Once you click on 2023 elections, it automatically scrolls you down to this section. That's what a link to an anchor does. So let's do that practically so you see what we are talking about. We'll go to the blog.html and look for, by using the search feature of the code editor, by either pressing Ctrl F or going to view, and then you see, okay, not view, edit, you see find. So the shortcut is Ctrl F, but if you should press Ctrl H, it will enable you to find and replace something, everything on the page that's related to what you are searching for. So I'm using the search box to search for 2023 elections. It says not found. Okay, let me look for it manually. Let me manually look for where it is. 2023 elections. So it should be somewhere here. We have 2023 elections here. News. Okay, look at it. This is it. 2023 elections. The class you see here is an attribute. This is the href, because we also have an anchor tag right here. Yes, we do have an anchor tag here. So the href, we'll use it now to show you how to link to another anchor tag within your website. Now to do that, we have to specify a value, a different value to the href attributes. Currently we are having a link to the main site, but we have to take it off to specify a link to another section of our page, which is a link to an anchor. To do that, we place the hash language, we place the hash symbol followed by the name, of that particular attribute or anchor tag we are trying to locate. So now we can then go down there by specifying the name. Let's say section 1. Now to link to section 1, we'll specify section 1 there. We want to go down to that place of section 1. Let's make it easier by copying this text. By copying this text we highlighted initially. Okay, here it is. So let me just look for this section, so we automatically come down there. All right, it's in a paragraph tag. So I'm going to specify how we'll be able to navigate down to this place automatically by specifying an ID. Yeah, an ID called section 1. So if you click on 2023 elections right now, if we refresh our page and click on 2023 elections, it should take us down it should take us down to, I think I'm having an error there. It's supposed to take us down to that section. Let me look for the problem. Okay, the problem is we are having this 2023 elections in multiple places, and I only changed it for one. Let me take off some of these codes that are actually irrelevant. For instance, this tie sheet. Let's take it out. I'm sorry for this delay. Should have done this before we begin. Okay, that's the end. So take that out and then look for 2023 elections again. Where could that be? This is the first one. And let's look for the second one. Okay, here it is. I didn't know. So section 1. Let's look for another one. There are lots of links with section 1. Okay, let's just use the Control H to change it entirely. Section 1. So you click here to replace all. Once it's clicked, automatically changes it to section 1. So if I go back to the site right now, yes, I removed the style sheet. That's why I see everything like this. So we want to navigate down to one of the paragraphs, which is this. We want to navigate down to this place by clicking on the anchor tag. So once I click on it, you see that it automatically brought me down. It brought me down. So I scroll down to this section of the page because I gave here an ID of section 1. So if we search for this section 1, you can see that we have it in multiple places, 5 places. So this is the third place out of 5. So if we go down to our page, you see I specify an ID here. An ID is an attribute that I use to select this particular paragraph. So in order for us to link to another anchor within our page, which is the main aim, I downloaded this entire source code. We have to specify first the href anchor, the value of the href attributes for the anchor tag. We have to specify it by first adding a hash followed by the name of the ID or the value of the ID of the specific section we want to go to. So in this case, we wrote hash section 1, and this section 1 is the value of the ID you see down there. Is the value of the ID without the hash. So once you click on that hash, once you click on this one, it automatically takes you down. Like scroll down the page to this paragraph. So like I showed you on the web page, if we should scroll back to the top and click on 2023 elections, which is the link that has the hash and section 1. Once you click on it, it automatically takes you down. Scroll down to that section of the web page. That's it for link to another anchor. I have shown you how to link to a page on same site, which is when we linked from the index.html to the blog, which is this page. Now I should show you a link that dies a number. We'll be going back to our index.html. So I'll show you a link that dies a number. So to do that, we have to specify the attribute called tail. we have to specify the attribute called, the value of the href called tail. So I'm going to create a new line. I'm going to go to a new line, specify this A, and then I can pass in the phone number here, or I can either write call someone. Let me say call someone. Either you can do this, or you also do this by passing the phone number. Let me say +234 234 567 So now this is the phone number we want to call, right? Now to do that, we then have to pass in the href attributes. The value of the href attributes in this case will be tail colon your phone number, the phone number you want to call. So once you have done this and you want to call this number, for instance, you're on a particular site where you want to purchase something, and then you are having some confusion about the particular product, and you find a number on that site that you want to call for clarification. So if that phone number is not just a plain tag like this, once you click on it, it will automatically try to dial the number, with a request for permission to dial the number. But if you specify the href attributes with the tail value followed by the phone number, you automatically dial the number once the number is clicked on. So let's go to our site and see how that looks. Right here, this is the phone number. Now once you click on it, it requests for permission. It says pick an application. That is, you have to select an application within the system that can actually place calls. But for instance, you are on a mobile device. Once you click on this, it automatically opens your dial pad. If I should click on this now, it's going to open an application on my phone, on my system, which I don't know what it would be, but I won't. So if you are visiting the site on a mobile device, once you click on this dial, it automatically opens your dial pad for you to then maybe select a particular network you want to use to make that call. But if you're having only one SIM on the phone, I think it will automatically die. Yes, it will. It will automatically die. So that's it for a link that dials a phone number. Now, I've shown you a link that opens a new tab or a new window. Now, I want to show you a link that runs a JavaScript function, a JavaScript code. So, to do that, we also create a new line. We go to a new line for clarity, for visibility's sake. Go to a new line and then also specify the A tag. Once you specify the A tag, now in the href, its value this time around now will not be JavaScript, because we want to create a link that runs a JavaScript code. So it's going to be JavaScript. So this particular script, this particular anchor tag runs a JavaScript code. Now, its method is by specifying the JavaScript, just as we specified tail. Now we can specify JavaScript, and then we have a function. Let's say my function. So sorry about that noise if you are hearing that. I don't know why these guys are always making noise wherever I'm making my tutorials. So once you specify that, you also specify the name of this particular anchor tag. You also specify the name of this particular anchor tag. For now, I'm going to say run code. Run code. So once you go to the site, you then see run code. Now once I click on it, it runs a particular JavaScript code, but we can't see. You can't see, but let me show you something. create a function. Okay, we'll do that. I will explain this properly by the time we are in JavaScript. Or let me just create a script tag here. Just create a script tag here. I'm not supposed to be showing you this for now. I'll be creating a function called my function. So once this is called, I want it to tell me my name, which is Daniel. So I want, once I click on this function, once I click on this anchor tag, I want to automatically run this function. So to do that, I cannot specify another attribute called onClick by creating here as a hash for it to be a link, and then click on onClick. So within the onClick value, I cannot specify my function. So once this is specified, and then I click on run code, it automatically calls this function and then alerts my name. Let's go to the browser and see how it looks. Now I click on run code. Okay, it didn't. I think I didn't specify something properly. I didn't specify this properly. Let's see if that's a problem. Okay, that's not the problem. So I think we'll ignore that for now. In our next video, I will explain that properly, or when we start our JavaScript tutorials. But for now, I will show you an anchor tag that runs an email client. Let me show you an anchor tag that runs an email client, and that will be all for today. I hope I didn't bore you too much, and I believe you've achieved something today. So if you want to send me a mail, I'm going to use my mail here. Yes, I'll be using my email here. If you want to create a link that runs a mail client, an email client, that means on a site, for instance, you go to the contact page and then you see the email address. Maybe you want to send an email to that email address. Once you click on it, it automatically opens your Gmail app or your mobile device. Or if you're on a desktop, it will want to open Windows precisely. It will want to open the Microsoft Mail or Outlook. So to do that, we have to specify the value mail to. We have to specify the value of the href mail to, followed by the email. So I told you I'm going to be using my email, support at elitecodec.com.ng. We can also make the value or the name of this anchor to be the email. We can make it to be the email. So if you go to our site right now and then click on this, remember we are using the live server, that's why you see it automatically appears. So once I click on this right now, it tries to open my mail. It opens my mail client because I'm using mail. If I was using Outlook and don't have this, it will automatically open the Outlook. So that will be all for today for anchors and hyperlink. Thank you for joining us, and please ensure or remember to subscribe to this channel if you have not done so, and turn on the notification icon to receive updates such as this. Now stay safe.